Hey guys, what's up? It's Etaniel here. Welcome to my Magicka DK build video for the Imperial City patch. In this video I'm going to be going over the build I was using in my last DK video, which a lot of you have been asking for, and you can check that video out on my channel. Even though it's a pretty standard DK build, as you'll see, I feel very comfortable with it, so I just wanted to share it with you guys, and you can probably make adjustments that you feel are necessary, but overall this should be a nice base for you to start with. Alright, let's try to keep this short and simple. And to the point, so we'll start with the gear. I'm using 5 pieces of light armor, 1 piece of heavy, and 1 piece of medium. The reason I'm doing that, of course, is the Undaunted passives that will give you additional stats for every armor type that you wear. If you don't have those passives yet, you can skip the medium armor and wear a second piece of heavy armor, in my opinion, to get more physical resistance and spell resistance, of course. The first set will be Kagrenac's Hope. The second set is Magnus 3 times, and the last one is Arcane Willpower. For the jewelry glyphs, I'm using 1 regen glyph and 2 Magicka cost reduction. I was using 3 regen in the video, my last DK video, and I think it worked better than cost reduction, so I'm just still playing around with those. But I would recommend, I think, going for full regen. And if you think your Magicka sustain is high enough, you can take out one of those to add spell damage. Those 3 sets are going to be giving you max Magicka, Magicka recovery, and spell damage, which is of course the 3 necessary set bonuses for Magicka DK. I really enjoy the perk from Kagrenac as well, the 5th set bonus. That allows you to res at a very fast rate in the middle of combat. It's been handy a lot of times. My weapons are a Resto staff on the first bar and a sword and shield on the second bar. So the sword and shield will allow you to have an additional piece of equipment, so you will get the 4th bonus of Magnus, which is additional spell damage, and you're gonna have to keep that in mind for the skill setup you'll be using afterwards. Keep in mind that this build isn't designed for duels. This is made for open world random PvP, and also to be in a group of 2 or 3 people usually. I'm working on a solo build right now with heavy armor, but it's not done yet. I need a bit more stones to finish it. But you're going to have a lot of trouble with this current build if you're going solo and you have multiple stamina builds attacking you at the same time. You're going to have a lot of incoming damage, and your armor is going to be a bit too low. Let's go over the stats. So I've got most of my points into Magicka. You see my health right now is at 29k, but I have the Emperor bonus right now, so it's usually around 26k with this setup. I'm using Tri-Stat food. My Magicka recovery is pretty high, almost 1.9k. A bit lower on my second bar. Spell damage is around 1.8k, almost 2k on my sword and shield bar. As you can see, it's pretty well rounded up. The only down points would be physical resistance, but that's going to be balanced a bit with my skill setup. So let's go over the skills now. First one is Volatile Armor. You will be getting the Major Resolve and the Major Ward in this one. You're going to need that, as I just said, to compensate for the light armor. My second skill is Deep Breath, and I prefer this one over Draw Essence because my Magicka sustain is already high enough. I don't need additional mana back, and this morph is going to be very handy when you're surrounded because it'll take care of Radiant Destruction, Soul Assaults, and also people who are rezzing that will interrupt them. Next up is Blessing of Restoration. Now this is the best alternative for Dragonblood at the moment, since Dragonblood was really nerfed high. It will give you minor buffs for armor and spell resist as well. Next one is a no-brainer, Dragonfire Scale. And finally, I'm using Entropy, which is mostly to get my major sorcery buff to increase my damage by 20%. Since I'm still Vampire, my ultimate is Devouring Swarm. I think, in my opinion, it's the most efficient ultimate to take advantage of the Battle Roar passive. And once you've casted this, it'll basically give you, 6 seconds of immunity. So it's really nice to have for outnumber situations. Let's go over the offensive bar now. The first one is my Gap Closer Invasion. Even though stamina is not my strong point in this build, not having a gap closer is a huge drawback in my opinion in this meta, because everyone is really highly mobile, and you want to be able to engage at the very same time as the rest of your group, so it's really nice to have invasion on your bar. It's also really nice in the sewers, because if you want to get out of fight, you can use it on NPCs across the room and get out of range really fast. Second skill is Burning Talons. Now, I do recommend using the other morph, which is Choking Talons, for the damage reduction. The only reason I have this is because I usually run with another DK that is already using Choking Talons, and I don't believe they stack. But I will be respecing this to Choking Talons myself very soon. Third skill is also a no-brainer, Flame Lash. It's obviously your main single target DPS skill, and it's going to provide you a really nice heal when you use it on off-balance targets. In a perfect setup, it would be on my restoration bar, because you can weave light attacks when you're doing DPS, and you're going to be doing more damage with a Resto staff than a sword and shield, of course. But as I said earlier, I have additional spell damage on this bar, so that's why I'm keeping it on here, because weaving is not always possible, so I'm getting more damage overall having this on my sword and shield bar. Fourth skill is Proximity Detonation. You can either use this or Engulfing Flames. It all depends on the types of groups you're encountering. It depends on the type of synchronization you want to have with the rest of your group. I really like this one because it allows me to time my bursts. You have the countdown, it's really easy to follow if you're using FTC or LUI Extended. And you can really time this with a banner or with someone else's ulti in the group. It's really nice. And the last skill is Igneous Shield. The shield isn't very strong itself, but all your healing will be boosted by 30%, and that's the main reason I use it. My ultimate on this bar is Banner. It's really expensive, so this is only for group play, because the healing debuff is going to be very strong, and you're going to need that. But I'll usually switch to Shooting Star when I'm solo, or in a smaller group. Most of the times your ultimates will be used as finishers, not really for sustain, because Battle Roar passive has been nerfed quite a bit. Your sustain should be good enough without ultimates and with the use of tripods. So the point of this build is not to rely on Battle Roar, it's a nice bonus, but you won't be using ultimates as much as before. So once again, this build is aimed at small scale group PvP, definitely not duels. For duels, you can keep the same gear, but you're going to have to switch out a lot of skills. For example, Invasion's not going to be useful. You're going to have to switch that with Petrify, for example. Or Proxy as well, you'll have to take out. I'll give you a quick overlook at my champion points now. So since I have 390 champion points, I don't feel that it's very important to theory craft it as much. You have enough points to put it in basically everywhere, so I have a few points in Magicka cost reduction. I've got a lot of points in Magicka recovery and a bit in stamina for the easy 5%. I've got a few points into tumbling as well to reduce the cost of dodge roll and break free, which I actually use quite a lot. I dodge roll, I think, more than most people on their DKs. You're going to need some points into healing effectiveness. Your major damage tree is going to be Elemental Experts. A few points into Thaumaturge as well. A few points into Block Expertise. I used to have a lot more in this, but in this patch I try not to block as much, because your stamina is going to go down really fast. A lot of points into Spell Resistance. A few points into Resistance. Not so much, because it's also going to reduce your healing taken. A few points into Hardy Elemental Defender. I'm starting to put points in Thick Skin as well. Quick Recovery, again, to increase your healing effectiveness. I think I've covered everything, so if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope this helps, and I will see you guys next time.